Before we continue, if at any point you do not feel comfortable, please contact a licensed electrician. In today's video, we'll talk about testing and resetting your electrical breakers. Before we begin, let's look and see the type of breakers we're going to be using today. The first is your traditional breaker. On the end of the on-off switch, you will notice a number. That is the amperage or the rating for that particular breaker. The one directly above it is an arc fault breaker. It's slightly different as it has a built-in test button. This is used to ensure that the breaker is working the way it's designed. There are other types besides arc, ground fault protection, and even combination breakers. Although they're different, they can be tested the same way from the panel. When turning a breaker on or off, it should always click or snap into position. It should never sit in the middle of the breaker. Turning it off is relatively easy, but turning it back on does take a little bit of force, so be prepared. A non-trip breaker should never be loose. It should be firm in either the on or off position. Turning the power on or off with an arc fault is the same as a traditional breaker. This same thing goes for GFCI and combination breakers. To test the breaker by simulating an arc, press the test button. Notice the switch, or operator as it's called, is in the center of the breaker and not aligned with the other switches. This is common for any breaker that has been tripped. If you happen to come across a breaker that's been tripped, you'll notice that the operator or switch is very loose and cannot be put into the on position. To reset the breaker, put it in the off position and then move it to the on position. Anytime you troubleshoot an electrical issue, always inspect the area first. This could be around the panel or the area that the circuit is being tripped. First issue you might run into is if it trips right away or makes a noise. Under no circumstance should you ever hold a breaker in the on position. If this happens, unplug all appliances from the circuit and try again. If the breaker stays, then potentially you had too many appliances on the circuit or one of the appliances is bad. The next common scenario is a breaker that trips on a regular basis. When this happens, usually you can reset it and it won't trip right away. However, a couple days later it will. When this happens, look to see what appliances are on this circuit. Take those appliances off if possible and use them on a different circuit to see if you get similar results. If you do, then you know that there's something wrong with those appliances. If you don't, then potentially there could be something wrong with the breaker and it needs to be looked at and maybe replaced. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to see some of our other how-to videos.